Competitive factor market equilibrium. The intersection of the factor market demand curve and the factor market supply curve determines the competitive factor market equilibrium. We've just derived the factor market demand curve. There's nothing unusual about the factor market supply curve. The long run factor supply curve for each firm is its marginal cost curve above the minimum of its average cost curve, and the factor market supply curve is the horizontal sum of the firm's supply curves. Because we've already analyzed competitive market equilibria for markets in general in chapters 2, 8, and 9, there's no point in repeating the analysis. Been there, done that. Chapter 10 shows that factor prices are equalized across markets. For example, if wages are higher in one industry than in another, workers would shift from the low wage industry to the high wage industry until the wages were equalized. Application: Black Death raises wages. The Black Death, bubonic plague, wiped out between a third and a half of the population of medieval Western Europe, resulting in a large increase in the real wage and sizable drops in the real rents on land and capital. Why? The plague is characterized by large dark lumps in the groin or armpits, followed by livid black spots on the arms, thighs, and other parts of the body. In virtually all its victims, the Black Death led to a horrible demise within 1 to 3 days of onset. In England, the plague struck in 1348 through 1349, 1360 to 1361, 1369, and 1375. According to one historian, the population fell from 3.76 million in 1348 to 3.13 million in 1348 to 1350, 2.75 million in 1360, 2.45 million in 1369, and 2.25 million in 1324. In England, nominal wages rose in the second half of the 14th century compared to the first half. Thatchers earned 35% more. Thatcher's helpers 105%. Carpenters 40%. Masons 48%. Mowers 24%. Oat threshers 73%, and oat reapers 61%. Adjusting for output price changes at a medieval consumer price index, the average real wage rose by 25%. In Pistoia, Italy, rents and kind on land fell about 40%, and the rate of return on capital fell by about the same proportion. Because the plague wiped out 1/2 to 2/3 of the labor force, labor became scarce relative to capital and land, which of course were unaffected by the disease. The scarcity of labor caused the marginal product of labor to rise. The remaining workers had lots of capital and land to use, and hence were very productive. In competitive markets, workers are paid a wage equal to the value of their marginal product. Marginal revenue product. W equals P times marginal product of labor, or wage equals price times marginal product of labor. If we rearrange this expression, the real wage, the wage relative to the price level, wage over price, equals the marginal product of labor. Wage over price equals the marginal product of labor. Hence, a large increase in the marginal product of labor causes a comparable increase in the real wage. Similarly, the fall in labor reduced the marginal products of capital and land, resulting in the drop in the real prices that those factors of production received.